What's up, y'all? Today we're going to be talking about the top 3 ways that I think that you can use to be able to increase your credit limit. So if that's something that interests you, be sure that you stay tuned. What's up, y'all? My name is Tomy Boboy, your credit and personal finance coach. If this is your first time on my channel, I'd just like to say welcome. Typically on this channel, we're talking about things related to credit and personal finance. So if you're interested in achieving financial freedom or improving your credit, be sure you hit the subscribe button down below so you don't miss any of my future videos. Now let's jump into the 3 techniques. Now, some of you guys might be wondering, what's the actual benefits to actually increasing your credit limits, right? Why should you actually increase it besides just the regular, having access to more capital, right? Having access to more money if you need to borrow it or whatever it is. Now, there's really 2 reasons that I can think of that have made me want to be able to increase my limits using these same techniques that I'm talking to you guys about today. Okay, the first one's going to be the effect it has to your credit utilization. So for those of you guys who don't know, your credit score is actually, or your FICO score is actually broken down into 5 different categories. Okay, so it's going to be your payment history, your credit utilization, your age of credit, right, your credit mix, and your inquiries, pretty much, or new credit, as they like to say, but how many types of credit inquiries that you have, or hard inquiries that you have. And the crazy thing is the credit utilization is worth 30% of your score, okay? And credit utilization really just means how much of your credit are you using, right? How much of your credit are you utilizing? So you want to keep that number down as low as possible. Now, I've always told people, if you have high credit limits, or if you have a high credit card balances, let's say you have a $500 credit card, or credit card that has a $500 limit, and you have used $400 of that limit, then your credit utilization as a percentage is actually going to be 80%. Right? And that's way too high. You want to be closer to like the 10%. So I always try to tell people, try to pay it down. And if you're in a situation where you can't pay it down, then you want to attack it from both sides. Keep working on paying down the balance that you have, but work on getting more credit. Because if you have more credit available, that can help you lower your credit utilization as well. Right? So let's say, for example, you have a $500 credit limit on that credit card, but you're using $400 of it, which is 80% credit utilization. But let's say you got another $500 credit card, right? So now you have 2 $500 credit cards. That means your total available credit that you have is $1,000 now. You just doubled it. And now you're only using $400 out of your $1,000 available, which means your credit utilization is now 40%, right? It literally got cut in half. So that's why I always tell people, if you're in a situation where you are trying to work on the credit utilization section, keep paying it down, but try to be able to add more credit. That way you can work on it from both sides, adding credit and then lowering your credit balances. So that's going to be the main reason why I recommend this strategy. Another reason is going to be the rewards points. And this really depends on what kind of card that you have. But what I found is it's easier for me if I have a card that has a higher limit, then I'm able to really rack up more rewards points because I can use it to get, let's say, for example, I can use it to get higher ticket items. Okay, so typically what I'm doing is anything that I need to buy, whether it's for a business or it is just stuff around the house that are higher ticket, then I can run it through my credit card, even though I have the cash already, just to earn the rewards points. And I've done this to be able to get like free flights overseas, even be able to just get a ton of cash back, whatever it is. So this is a technique that's a lot easier to do when you have a credit limit of like $15,000, $20,000, as opposed to if you have a credit limit of just like $500, it makes all this a lot harder because it's not as easy for you to be able to, make high purchases or make multiple different purchases, right? The most you can do is 500. Let's say, for example, if you have something that's worth 1,000, you can't run it through that card, right? And I think it just makes it so much of a game changer. I've used it to pretty much run all my expenses for the businesses that I'm running. And it just pretty much just racks up easy points for me through those cards. So what are the 3 ways to get the increase? Now, the technique number 1 is going to be for you to just simply wait for it. I've heard a lot of people say this or bring this idea up, eventually they increase your limits. You hear people all the time say that they have their limits just increased out of nowhere. And I've even heard people complain about it, right? But, this is actually probably my least favorite because it kind of puts the ball in their court and they just raise your limit whenever they think that you're ready for another increase. But if you're in a situation where you're like those two scenarios I talked about, where A, you want to get the rewards points, or B, you want to be able to increase your credit score and lower your credit utilization, then you don't really have time to just kind of wait whenever they're ready to increase your limit. So this might not be the best option for you, okay? This is probably going to be more so for somebody who's not in either of those situations and really they couldn't care less. You know, eventually they'll raise your limit, but you're not really pressed to try to get it up as fast as possible. Option number 2 is going to be for you to just request it. A lot of these companies, you're able to reach out to them, whether it's online or over the phone, to just actually talk to them and say, hey, can you actually give me a credit increase? You know, I typically recommend that you let them know that you want to be able to use it as a main card. You know, you wouldn't be able to do majority of your purchases on that card, but your credit limit is just too low. And, you know, kind of talk to them. Typically, you want to wait. Don't do it as soon as you get the card, especially if it's a new card. You probably want to give it a couple months before you actually request an increase. But yeah, I think that's going to be something that's definitely going to be doable for you. One other thing that I do want to mention is this is definitely not something that you want to do, requesting a credit increase if you've been missing payments. So if you're not constantly paying your credit card on time and you've kind of missed payments, you know, sometimes you miss 2 payments in a row and then you finally pay up, you catch back up, and then you miss another payment, things like that. It's going to be a lot harder for you to convince them to give you a credit increase, right? They want to see that you've been responsible for a certain amount of time where you haven't missed any payments. I'd probably say like maybe for 6 months or something, you haven't missed payments, even a year, you haven't missed any payments. Then it makes it a lot doable for them, a lot more doable for them to be able to just give you that increase. Now, number 3, the third way that I think you can get a credit limit increase is going to be by you forcing it. Okay. And honestly, this to me is the route I typically go, because it kind of shows them the proof before they even, before you go out and ask them for it. So typically what I'm going to do is I will get a card. Let's say I have a card and they give me like a $5,000 limit, but I know that I want to get to, let's say, 15,000. So what I'll do is I will literally just shift all my expenses to it. So I'll literally run all my expenses for, you know, anything that I need to buy, I'm going to buy through that credit card, especially bigger purchases. Even if I know someone who, let's say that they're going to buy a TV or something and they have the cash, I might even just go with them, use my credit card, and then take the money from them and pay it off immediately on the card. Now, what I typically will do is I'll try to see if I can max out that card and then pay it off, and then try to do it that like once or twice in a month. Okay, so let's say my limit is $1,000. I literally max out the $1,000 on that card, pay it off, and then the next week I do the same thing and pay it off again, right? So at this point I have a zero balance, and I'll reach out to the actual bank and kind of like pretty much just give them a pitch, letting them know, hey, listen, I've been using this card. It's been going great, but the thing is, I just am not able to use it because the limit is too low, right? It just makes everything a lot harder for me. Now they'll be able to see on your record, hey, like this dude is literally taking this card and paying it off, buying and paying it off, like multiple payments throughout the month, right? And that'll show them that you do need an increase because you're literally maxing out the card. You're going like up and down, maxing it out and paying it off so many times that it makes sense for you to get a credit limit increase. Okay, I'd let them know, hey, like I want this to be my main card that I use, but the thing is, you know, it's really tough just because of the situation I'm in. You guys gave me a credit limit that's not as high as I would need for it to be my main card, and that's why I want to reach out to you to see if I could potentially get that card moved up or get the limit moved up. I think that is a lot easier for them to approve because they can see, right? They have the proof that you're using the card and you're paying it off. They just they see that you're kind of bottlenecked because of that the credit limit. And for me, that's kind of what's been the best for me. Using that technique has worked wonders for me, just to be able to get a credit limit increase pretty rapidly. And that's going to be the best option that I think. Okay, so go ahead and try these techniques out. Let me know how they work for you. And also, guys, if you are looking to improve your credit, maybe you're not qualifying for the kind of credit cards that you want, whatever kind of issues that you might have on your credit, whether it's things like, maybe you have collections accounts, you have late payments, inquiries, repos, bankruptcies, whatever it is. I've shot videos on those before, so I'll link to those videos down below so you can go ahead and check those out. Also, be sure that you throw in the comments down any type of other videos that you want to see. But that's going to be pretty much it for this video, guys. Be sure that you hit the subscribe button down below, and also that you like this video so we can get this out to as many people as possible. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. I will see you at the next one.